Okay, I'm going to silence Bernie here for a second because it reminded me something very important that hasn't really been getting a lot of coverage. The Sackler family. Remember the Sackler family that was like almost single-handedly responsible for the opiate addiction in places like West Virginia, which has become a gigantic problem? You know, the guys who made OxyContin and also set up like agencies and lobbied the government and created like pain management institutes and whatnot in an effort to greatly lie about OxyContin and also sell it to every fucking doctor in the United States of America to get people hooked on it. Then you know, when people couldn't pay for it, they had to go and get like fentanyl and heroin on the streets, ruining their fucking lives. Remember those guys? Those guys were sued, if you recall. And, of course, I told you back then that they were not going to get actually any sort of serious harm, despite the fact that they literally played individual roles in the marketing of this product. Okay? Well, now, the American court system has done it again, folks. The billionaire owners of Purdue Pharma will be protected from lawsuits linked to the U.S. opioid crisis in exchange for a $6 billion settlement. Purdue, which filed for bankruptcy in 2019 amid thousands of lawsuits, made drugs like OxyContin and is blamed for fueling the crisis. On Tuesday, an appeals court ruled that its owner, the Sackler family, would receive full immunity from civil lawsuits. In exchange, they will pay $6 billion to help address the opioid addiction. A 2021 investigation by the U.S. House Oversight Committee indicated that members of the family who have owned a controlling share of Purdue Pharma since 1952 are collectively worth a total of $11 billion. But fear not. They pledged their loyalty and $6 billion so they can still be billionaires, okay? Who knows how that $6 billion will be utilized, by the way, but now you can't fucking take every single penny that they have. The family have long demanded civil immunity, and the court's ruling removes a key barrier to the money being paid out. The payments will spread over multiple years. Funds will go to local and state governments and is expected to fund rehabilitation programs and other addiction treatments. Roughly $750 million of the settlement will be distributed to the individual victims of the opioid crisis and their families. A three-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals in the Second Circuit issued the ruling. The details of the settlement have been contested in the courts for several years. Judge Eunice Lee said the claims filed against Purdue Pharma were inextricably linked to the Sackler family. She ruled that if lawsuits were permitted to continue targeting them, Purdue Pharma would not be able to reach a bankruptcy deal. The ruling paves the way for the settlement, which must now receive final approval from a court. While it protects the family from any future civil cases, it does not protect them from potential criminal charges. Will there ever be criminal charges towards this insanely wealthy family? I doubt it. As a part of the settlement, the Sackler family will give up ownership of the company, which will then be rebranded as Kanoa and send its profits to fund to help treat addiction. Now, the Sackler family has already done a similar thing without court mandate, for the record. Just for those of you who are unfamiliar, maybe you don't know about this. They did the OxyContin shit. They created the opiate crisis, or they greatly exacerbated the opiate crisis, and then they turned around and offered a solution. And that solution, of course, was another drug. Suboxone, if I'm not mistaken, is the drug that you're supposed to use to wean off of heroin. Suboxone is the drug you're supposed to use when you're weaning off of heroin, and that is their drug. They made that. They created the problem, and then they created the other drug that is the solution. Okay? Isn't that great? Yes, it is like methadone. Yes, to contrast it to another woke hero of ours, Elizabeth Holmes. Elizabeth Holmes started her 11-year sentence working for like 30 cents an hour. That's one thing you can't do in America. Lie to investors. What a brilliant analogy here. What a brilliant comparison here. Sorry, not an analogy. Elizabeth Holmes actually went to prison because she lied to investors, which included but was not limited to Henry Kissinger. I do think that that's pretty funny, though. Okay? That's why she's in jail. The Purdue family, or the Sackler family, which owns Purdue Pharmaceutical, is responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans. And yet, they will never see the inside of a fucking prison cell. That's the criminal justice system in the United States of America. China executes former top banker for taking $277 million in bribes. Suboxone is the brand name. Buprenorphine is the compound, and the common dosage is 8 milligrams, normally for substitution, but some abuse and some use it recreationally. My point is, billionaires never. Wait, Purdue never made Suboxone. Wait, what was it? What is the? They made one of the drugs that they use. I thought it was Suboxone. Is it Narcan? Narcan is not the drug used to wean off of a heroin addiction. It's what you use when you are overdosing. So maybe they didn't make the Suboxone. They just made the Narcan, and I'm mistaking it. They make naloxone. Or, no. Do they? No. Harm reduction therapeutics receive additional funding. Wait, is this actually Purdue, or is this fucking... Is it Purdue Pharmaceutical, or is this Purdue the college? Study shows Purdue switched to abuse deterrent OxyContin helped drive a spike in hepatitis C infections. Wait, hold on. Harm reduction therapeutics will receive up to $11 million in additional financial support from Purdue Pharma as to advance its development of a low-cost, over-the-counter naloxone nasal spray in the United States. Okay, so that is Narcan. Sorry, I was wrong. They made Narcan.
Get your Narcan! I got some right here. Fentanyl. He had fentanyl.
That's what they made. Narcan. Fucking raining outside? What the hell? That's crazy. Or it's not. Narcan is the brand name of naloxone. Is it Narcan or is it fucking Suboxone? Well, I mean, I guess it has the same products in it, but one is like a one-off. The other one is something that you have to consistently use. Narcan is what you use. Okay, for those of you who don't know, Narcan is not the injectable version. No, Narcan is actually the nose one. Okay, it's an inhalant. Narcan is the brand version for the naloxone nasal spray. Okay? It's the over-the-counter drug that you can purchase. So when you overdose, because you have when you ate too many fucking drugs, okay? If you overdose on heroin, if you overdose on fentanyl, Narcan is what you use. It's over-the-counter, and a lot of places will give it to you for free. You should always have it. When you're overdosing on opiates, Narcan is what you fucking stick down the nose of someone and then spray for them to not die, okay? Ate too many heroines. Suboxone, on the other hand, is similar to methadone, where it's used as a substitute to heroin as a way to wean you off of heroin for as a treatment drug. Purdue considered selling both Suboxone and naloxone Oh, okay. They never actually did it. It makes them really sick after you use Narcan too. They always get really mad after you kept them from dying. Suboxone is the buprenorphine mixed with Suboxone, so it can be absorbed through the stomach and can't be injected IV. Naloxone isn't absorbed in the stomach, but if you inject it, it will counteract the euphoria of injected buprenorphine to prevent abuse. Okay. Anyway, the point is, they started the problem and then they literally were like, well, let's not kill our customer base. It's even worse. Let's not fucking kill our customer base when they inevitably overdose, and let's ensure that they keep purchasing the drugs. My point, however, for all of this was that in China, they would execute you for this, okay? They straight up would execute you for this. Chinese tech CEOs, Chinese venture capitalists, Chinese bankers have been executed for less, okay? Now, I'm not the biggest fan of capital punishment, but I would at least, expect some form of punishment for motherfuckers that have killed so many goddamn people in this country, okay? It's crazy. People are like, oh man, fentanyl's coming in from China, brother. Fentanyl's coming in from China. Yeah, guess what, dude? Think about why there's such a big fentanyl epidemic. Think about why there's such a big opioid crisis in this country. Why is there a market for it? Because last time I checked, the Sacklers are not Chinese, okay? They're American as it fucking gets. Anyway. Oh, she's pressing buttons. Calm down. No! Anyway, guys. Love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.